Live, local, now. This is the news at Daybreak Saturday.
Good morning. Thanks for watching the news at Daybreak. I'm Georgia Godfrey. It was a little cool last night, but Ron tells us we could be seeing some warmer temperatures.
Well, we'll definitely see some warmer temperatures, but the good news today is we'll be seeing some rain, and that's some much-needed rain here in the coastal empire. We'll be able to shut those sprinklers down for a while. Another shot at the airport. You can see the tarmac there pretty wet as a result of the rainfall there this morning. It's currently 68 degrees, humidity 87%, a little wind from the west at 5 miles per hour. Off and on windy conditions today as well. Look for basically cloudy skies with a chance of showers and storms going on throughout the day. Up to about 82 likely to be the high for the afternoon. And as far as our WTOC first alert storm detection, we can see that there are no severe weather threats currently at this time and anywhere here in the Channel 11 viewing area. And our severe weather threat for today is marginal, as you see there in the green. So still just going to be rain, maybe a little thunder, but for the most part, nothing serious. Our color-enhanced satellite view showing what's going on, the moisture moving out of the Gulf of Mexico across the Florida Panhandle, across the area, and that's going to continue off and on throughout the day, providing us some rain. Temperatures mostly in the 60s and 70s throughout all the communities around us, upper 60s at most areas. And for the next couple of days, today, again, rain and thunderstorms, 82 the high. For Mother's Day, 84 will be the high, but it's pretty much all sunshine, and the next 7 days or so, it's going to be pretty dry. Gigi?
Thanks, Ron. We begin with some breaking news from overnight where Southside Fire Department responded to a structure fire on Quaco Trail. This is video from that scene. Several units were there in that area around 1 this morning. We are continuing to follow this story and will keep you updated as more information becomes available. And new this morning, Savannah Chatham Metro Police responding to a shooting last night on Middle Ground Road. One woman was shot and is suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Investigators are still looking into what led up to the shooting, but at this time they do not believe it was random. As always, we'll keep you updated on air and online as more information becomes available. The welcome ceremony backdrop was an impressive sight. It was the Costco development with containers being loaded on. Just some of the 10,000 moved on and off over a 30-hour period. Plenty of people came down to River Street to watch the Costco development arrive. The development signifies a major milestone for the Port of Savannah, which is being able to take on ships her size and bigger as the harbor expansion continues.
The biggest ship I've ever seen in my life, and it's being handled, as you can tell, with a great deal of care and pride.
Deeper water in Savannah's harbor on top of a recently expanded Panama Canal makes travel times and distances shorter, which helps cut costs on goods for you, the consumer. Georgia Governor Nathan Deal also at the port yesterday to officially welcome the Costco development. Here's a different view of the ship during that ceremony. The governor pointed out the economic impact of ships like this coming to Savannah and how it benefits the entire state. To give you an idea of how impactful this port can be on the national level, in 2015, the Port of Savannah handled 10% of all U.S. containerized exports.
It's a team effort. We have a great team. You're a large part of the reason that we have been designated the best state in the country in which to do business for 4 consecutive years. And we're hopefully we're going to make it 5 because no other state has ever had 5 years in a row.
The governor says throughout the state, close to 400,000 jobs are associated with the activities coming through the Port of Savannah. And right here on our website, WTOC.com, we have a slideshow of pictures of the ship. You can also find more information from the governor's visit. Just head on over to the website and click on the slideshow link. And not to outshine the Costco development, but there was another pretty cool ship on River Street yesterday. This is the Oosterschelde. The passenger ship was built in 1918 and is currently sailing under the flag of Netherlands. Before sailing to Savannah, she was docked in Dominica. Foreclosure is never good for any homeowner, but what happens when tenants are kicked out because their landlord isn't paying the mortgage? It turns out there aren't any state laws in Georgia that protect tenants in this case. One family found this out the hard way. Tenants with a long-term lease may have grounds to stay in their home, but if you're on a month-to-month lease, you too could find yourself in the same position. For this family, the bank wants them to move out by June 3rd. They feel like they're being blamed for the landlord's foreclosure.
So I feel like because the landlord, they can't find her or they can't punish her maybe the way that they feel as though they need to, then we're the fall guys for it.
A real estate attorney says nothing requires the landlord to pay their mortgage. Worst case, the bank will notify you that you're being kicked out. The attorney suggests you should always respond.
They need to file a response. It'll give them an opportunity to have a hearing in court. And then in court, they could tell their story to the judge. It doesn't mean it's going to change anything, but it's going to give them more time to make arrangements to get out of the property.
The real estate agent says he feels like the bank is being fair in giving this family an opportunity to move in a timely manner. He's also connecting them with a lender to see if they qualify as buyers. And it's the moment all Atlanta drivers have been waiting for. The northbound lanes of I-85 are officially back open. Southbound lanes could be open by tomorrow. You'll remember that portions of the interstate have been shut down since late March after a major fire caused it to collapse. The reconstruction plan is way ahead of schedule. The Georgia Department of Transportation offered the contractor $3 million in incentives to get the work done before June 15th. And we've been telling you all week long that it's Hurricane Preparedness Week. In fact, the season officially begins in less than a month. South Carolina's governor and emergency management leaders came together yesterday for the annual Hurricane Tabletop exercise, making sure they're prepared should we see another storm like Hurricane Matthew. And please remember, today is the last day of Hurricane Preparedness Week. The National Weather Service is asking everyone to take the time now to write down a hurricane plan. The plan includes knowing where you will ride out the storm and get your supplies. Being prepared could mean the difference between you being a hurricane victim and a hurricane survivor. The Chatham County Commission is busy preparing for their next fiscal budget. And a big part of that is figuring out what to do about the demands being made on that budget by the results of the recent Berkshire study. It found county taxpayers are not paying their fair share for police protection. Just take a look at some of these numbers. For this past fiscal year, the city agreed to cut the county's portion and give them an added $2 million break, with the understanding that if the Berkshire study says otherwise, they would have to pay that money back next year. The Berkshire study, in fact, determined the county should pay a whopping 6% more for police protection, meaning it has to pay back the $2 million to the city and is being asked to increase its contribution for the 2017-2018 fiscal year. For the coming year, that means the county has to find an extra $8.5 million. Commission Chair Al Scott seemed to indicate there may be some wiggle room.
The commission have to decide what level of police service they want in the unincorporated area. They will also have to decide what response time they want. Do they want 7 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? Because that will dictate the number of officers you would have to assign to an area.
The county and the city will continue to meet periodically over the next 6 weeks. Both are still searching for places they can find extra money to redirect into the voters' #1 concern, fighting crime. And the city of Savannah is releasing last year's final travel and tourism numbers. We're told $3 billion were spent in 2016. The part officials say should matter to you. $3 billion saved every taxpayer who owns property, an average of $1,900 a year. Summer months play a big part of tourism spending as well.
Lots of our visitors find it's a little bit more of an economic time to come, so they save a few bucks by coming in the hotter times. And Savannah's still just as beautiful, even when it's roughly 1 billion degrees.
Owen says the numbers are looking great for this year as well. Happening today, the Glenville Onion Festival. Volunteers already turned out to get ready for the busy weekend ahead. Crowds will flock there for arts and crafts, rides, the parade, and of course a variety of onion dishes. Our Dow Kennedy gives us a sneak peek of what's to expect.
There's something downright peaceful about a rocking chair on the front porch on a Saturday morning. I'm on the front porch of the Glen Wannis Hotel, which opened back in the 1920s here in downtown Glenville. It's been closed, but local folks are restoring it, bringing it back up to be a community center because they want to preserve that history. There's a lot of history in the parade today and the Glenville Onion Festival as well, the 41st annual festival. The parade brings so many hundreds of people to Glenville's downtown. The festival brings thousands to this community to share a love of agriculture and small town fun. We'll have the parade going on live through downtown. It starts at 10 a.m. We'll be carrying it, of course, on television, and the festival grounds will be open throughout the morning and the afternoon. So if you can, come on down to Glenville and enjoy some of the fun with us. If you can't, join us for the highlights of the parade live on WTOC starting at 10 a.m. In Glenville, Dow Kennedy, WTOC News.
And to reiterate what Giles says, we will be broadcasting the Onion Festival live this morning at 10 o'clock. And because of that, today's children's program will be moved to 8 a.m. In Tybee Island's South Beach turned into a public sculpture gallery yesterday. It was all part of SCAD's 19th annual Sand Arts Festival. Participants vying for awards and prizes, including the coveted top prize for SCAD Spirit. Spectators headed out to the pier to check out the incredible work. The competition was open to SCAD students, alumni, faculty, and staff. Many started working at 10 o'clock in the morning.
We can't get the crazy big, really tight sculptures that you'd get maybe other places, but we do I think pretty darn well for what we've got. I think the sand down here is a little bit nicer than down North Beach.
This year's SCAD Spirit Award goes to Scadopoly. You're looking at it right here on your screen. It's kind of a rendition of the Monopoly game, and it's the work of 4 talented artists. Pretty cool stuff. Well, happening today is the biggest food collection event of the year. We'll tell you all about Stamp Out Hunger when we return. And we're taking a live look outside from the WTOC downtown Savannah Skycam. Ron Wallace is up next with your First Alert forecast.